establish me.
Deion is expressing a feminine, morally bankrupt worldview. And he's passing it off as confidence and a false bravado.
The firestorm started the second Jason Whitlock rolled out a graphic and commentary that went way beyond football, and the NFL world felt it instantly. What could have been another hot take turned into a cultural flashpoint when Whitlock framed Shedeur Sanders and Coach Prime as symbols of what he called a hip-hop problem in quarterback development. That wasn't analysis. That was a loaded narrative, and everyone knew it. The clip spread fast, with fans replaying it frame by frame, pointing out how the language wasn't about reads, footwork, or coverages, but about identity, culture, and who's allowed to lead an NFL huddle. Shaun King didn't hesitate.
The black rap hip-hop culture has permeated every part of America. I mean, go on TikTok. It's white moms with young white daughters doing the dances and diamond chains. Lamar Jackson's criticized for having a grill. But what's really happened is, if you go back to my draft class in '99, and listen, there were some icons that came before me.
Sources claim King saw the clip early, reacted immediately, and decided this wasn't something that could slide quietly. His response wasn't emotional rambling, it was surgical. He broke down how Whitlock's argument recycled decades-old talking points that have haunted black quarterbacks forever. The idea that swagger equals selfishness, that confidence equals arrogance, that cultural expression equals lack of discipline. King made it clear that this framing didn't just disrespect Shedeur, it disrespected every black QB who ever had to code switch just to survive in the league. The timing made it worse.
Me, Donovan McNabb, Achilles Smith, Dante Culpepper, Aaron Brooks, Michael Bishop, we all came into the league at the same time. We had to submit or you wouldn't play. So we couldn't have our own personality. So the NFL didn't change because they wanted to, they changed because they had to. Because the type of quarterback that was available to come into the league wasn't the Elvis Gerbach type. It wasn't the Peyton Manning type.
Shedeur Sanders was already under a microscope after stepping into the NFL spotlight with his father's name attached. Every throw, every facial expression, every outfit suddenly became evidence to critics searching for reasons to doubt him. And Coach Prime, who rebuilt Colorado with unapologetic black confidence, was painted as a threat to traditional football values.
Your opinion of me is not the opinion that I have of myself. You ain't make me, so you can't break me. You didn't build me, so you can't kill me. You know what? God established.
So a lot of people want to see me fail, and it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen.
Shedeur is not ready, and his attitude is horrendous. He's Debbie Downer. But this whole, you gotta give him equal chances. No, you don't. That's never been the National Football League.
I think the visual representation, public enemy number one and police bars for Shedeur and Coach Deion is extremely unfair, Jason.
Shaun King recognized the pattern instantly. This wasn't new, it was just louder. King's response hit social media like a right hook. Clips circulated of him calling out the hypocrisy, reminding everyone that when white quarterbacks show swagger, it's labeled leadership. When black quarterbacks do it, it's labeled distraction. He pointed to how quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson were questioned for years despite MVP-level production.
There are a lot of other entities in our communities that are more deadly and dangerous to people than Shedeur and Coach Prime.
I can't do that.
You have prison bars, and you've got public enemy number one.
Blame Chuck D and Flavor Flav.
There are a lot of other entities in our communities that are more deadly and dangerous to people than Shedeur and Coach Prime.
The message was clear. Performance has never been the real issue. This wasn't just a debate. It was a line drawn in the sand. NFL fans, former players, and analysts piled in, with many saying out loud what they'd whispered for years. The league has changed, the players have changed, but parts of the media are still stuck judging quarterbacks by outdated coded standards. And this time, someone with credibility finally said it with chest. Shaun King's takedown hurt because it was factual, calm, and relentless. Instead of yelling, he laid out receipts. He explained how Whitlock's claim that hip-hop culture clashes with quarterback success ignores modern NFL reality.
All they did was look at what the algorithm says works. And we're going to use this to build post Deion playing career brand, and it's focused on that energy. But they didn't create it. He self-appointed himself legendary. Legendary means I don't need help. I don't need a group around me to help me be successful. You put me in your organization and we're going to win. So being a third string quarterback during the year who did an interview and said,
Today's league is driven by mobile quarterbacks, creativity, and personality, not robotic conformity. King pointed to locker rooms filled with music, celebrations, and expression that fuel chemistry, not chaos. He broke down the submit to the system argument next. According to King, this phrase has always been code. Quarterbacks are expected to adapt, yes, but black quarterbacks are expected to erase themselves. Their tone, fashion, celebrations, and confidence are scrutinized in ways others never experience. Sources claim King emphasized that Shedeur Sanders has done everything asked of him, studied, prepared, performed, and led, yet still gets questioned for who he is. The Lamar Jackson comparison hit hardest.
Football, particularly at the quarterback position, but football in general, because of its military-like structure, it's about submission. It's about submitting to the head coach, and the team is greater than yourself. And hip hop is about individuality and being rebellious to authority.
King reminded viewers that Lamar won an MVP and still had analysts doubting his ability to lead long-term. Meanwhile, white quarterbacks with fewer accolades were given endless patience. That double standard didn't disappear. It just shifted targets. Now Shedeur is next in line. King also addressed Coach Prime directly. He framed Deion Sanders not as a rebel, but as a reflection of a new NFL era where players bring their whole selves to the game. Sanders didn't destroy structure, he rebuilt belief. He demanded accountability, discipline, and performance while allowing authenticity. That scared people who equate control with order. This section of King's response sparked massive online engagement. Fans replayed it, clipped it, and shared it across platforms. Former players chimed in agreeing that the NFL still struggles with accepting black leadership that doesn't fit a narrow mold. The conversation grew bigger than Whitlock. It became about who controls football narratives. By the end of his breakdown, Shaun King had flipped the script. The question wasn't whether Shedeur Sanders fits the NFL. It was whether the NFL media is ready to accept quarterbacks who don't look, sound, or move like the old template. And that question hit way too close for comfort. Shedeur Sanders represents everything that challenges old football power structures. He's confident, articulate, media savvy, and unafraid to acknowledge his upbringing. He doesn't shrink his personality to make others comfortable. That alone makes him a lightning rod. Unlike previous generations, Shedeur didn't come into the league apologizing for who he is. He embraced his lineage, embraced Coach Prime's influence, and refused to play small. For some critics, that confidence reads as entitlement, even though the same trait is praised elsewhere. Shaun King pointed out how Shedeur's mistakes are framed differently. A bad throw becomes a character flaw. A missed read becomes proof of immaturity. Meanwhile, similar errors by others are labeled growing pains. King emphasized that the leash isn't the same length, and never has been. Social media amplified everything. Clips of Shedeur smiling, celebrating, or speaking boldly were twisted into narratives about focus and humility. The football tape often got ignored. That imbalance fueled the outrage, and King called it out directly. What makes this moment explosive is timing. The NFL is entering an era where players control their brands. They speak directly to fans. They don't rely solely on legacy media. That power shift threatens commentators who built influence through gatekeeping narratives. Shedeur didn't ask to be the symbol, but he became one. And when Whitlock aimed at him, Shaun King stepped in to make sure the hit didn't go unanswered. The backlash has shaken sports media rooms. Producers are reportedly reviewing segments more carefully. Language that once slid by unnoticed is now dissected in real time. The audience is louder, sharper, and less patient. Shaun King's response wasn't just viral, it was instructive. It showed how quickly a narrative can collapse when challenged with history and context. Analysts are realizing that coded language doesn't hide anymore. Former players are speaking up more. Quarterbacks, receivers, and defenders alike are calling out double standards publicly. That unity makes it harder to dismiss critiques as sensitivity. This moment signals a shift. The NFL sells culture now. Celebrations, fashion, personality. It can't pretend culture is the problem while profiting from it. That contradiction is being exposed. Shedeur Sanders hasn't responded directly, and he doesn't have to. The conversation has moved beyond him. The league is being asked whether it truly believes in merit or still clings to outdated expectations. Change doesn't come quietly, and this one is loud. This confrontation won't fade. It touched something deeper than a single clip or comment. It challenged how success, leadership, and professionalism are defined in football. Shaun King didn't just defend Shedeur, he defended the next generation. Quarterbacks who won't dim themselves to fit someone else's comfort zone. Players who lead with authenticity and skill. The NFL audience is watching closely. Every take, every graphic, every headline will be judged differently now. The room has changed, and the old playbook isn't working. This isn't about canceling voices, it's about accountability. When narratives harm, they get challenged, and when challenged effectively, they crumble. The reason this moment hit so hard is because it exposed a truth the NFL has danced around for decades. Shaun King didn't invent the double standard, he dragged it into the daylight. The league loves to pretend quarterback evaluation is all about film, reads, and mechanics, but history tells a different story. When black quarterbacks lead with confidence, emotion, or culture, it's labeled ego, attitude, or lack of discipline. When others do the same thing, it's called commanding the room, or alpha leadership. That gap is real, and this situation forced people to confront it. King pointed out that Shedeur Sanders hasn't failed any football test thrown at him so far. Arm talent? Check. Accuracy? Check. Poise under pressure? Check. Work ethic? Praised by teammates? Yet the critiques keep drifting back to who he is, how he carries himself, and what he represents culturally. Sources claim King emphasized that this is how the narrative trap works. Move the goalposts whenever performance doesn't justify criticism. The conversation also pulled in comparisons to quarterbacks who were given years of grace to develop. Missed throws were learning moments, bad seasons were rebuild years. Meanwhile, Shedeur gets labeled before the ink on his rookie deal dries. That imbalance doesn't come from football, it comes from perception. What made this chapter of the debate explode is how many former players echoed King's words. Retired quarterbacks, receivers, and linemen chimed in saying they lived this reality. They watched teammates with elite ability get doubted longer, pushed harder, and trusted less. That chorus made it impossible to dismiss the argument as one person's opinion. Even some media figures quietly admitted the criticism crossed a line. Group chats lit up, segments were re-edited, and tones shifted overnight. That doesn't happen unless something lands too close to the truth. The biggest takeaway? The NFL can no longer sell evolution while clinging to old evaluation biases. Players today are louder, smarter, and more connected to fans than ever. They won't let narratives go unchallenged. Shaun King didn't just respond, he changed the temperature of the entire conversation. This chapter wasn't about canceling anyone, it was about clarity. And once clarity hits, there's no going back. The real impact of this showdown is what happens next. From this point forward, Shedeur Sanders won't be evaluated in a vacuum anymore. Every take about him will be measured against what Shaun King exposed. Analysts now know the audience is listening for coded language, lazy stereotypes, and uneven standards. That alone changes everything. Shedeur's calm silence has only strengthened his position. Instead of clapping back emotionally, he let others speak the truth. That restraint reads as maturity, not weakness. Sources claim coaches and front office people respect that approach because it shows confidence without chaos. The ripple effect extends beyond one quarterback. Young black QBs entering the league are watching closely. They're seeing what happens when someone finally pushes back with facts instead of fear. That sets a new tone for how prospects carry themselves and how much nonsense they tolerate. Media coverage has already started shifting. Film breakdowns are replacing personality critiques. Questions are focusing more on schemes and less on vibes. That's not accidental. That's pressure working. Sources also say teams are paying attention. Front offices don't want distractions tied to biased narratives. When a player becomes a lightning rod unfairly, smart organizations either protect him or adjust messaging. This situation forced everyone to reevaluate how much noise is worth entertaining. The biggest win here isn't viral clips, it's accountability. Shaun King showed that calling out flawed narratives doesn't hurt the game, it improves it. Football gets better when evaluation is honest, consistent, and rooted in reality. This moment will be remembered not because of who started the controversy, but because of who finished it. The NFL is changing whether some people like it or not, and Shedeur Sanders stands at the center of that shift, not as a victim, but as proof that the old rules no longer apply. The next chapter of his career will be watched differently now, louder, fairer, and with eyes wide open. If this breakdown hit, support the movement for real football talk. Drop a like, tap subscribe, and stay locked in for every moment that shakes the league next.